I am Maria Garcia de Fleury. In Rome, in the Church of Crisogono, a Trinitarian church, lies the glass coffin containing the incorrupt body of Anna María Taigi. She belonged to the tertiary order of the Trinitarians and is the patron saint of women who suffer verbal abuse from their husbands. Anna Maria was born on May 29, 1769, in Siena. Her father was an apothecary. Her family lost their properties and emigrated to Rome. There, Anna's parents worked as domestic servants in private homes, and she was responsible for raising children without resources. At 13, Anna began formal employment in a silk factory and later entered the service of a noble lady in her palace. She loved ostentatious dresses and longed to be admired by all. At the age of 21, she married Domenico Taigi, a hard-working and serious man, but he was rude, angry, and Anna Maria had to endure his sore and difficult character and all his verbal rudeness for a long time. Little by little, she distanced herself from worldly pursuits and felt remorse for her superficial life. She went to confession and resolved to change. She renounced the vanities of the world. Anna and Domenico had 7 children. 3 died when they were very young. Their parents also lived with them. Every morning, Anna gathered them all to pray. She took them to Mass, and at night they all gathered again to listen to spiritual readings and say prayers. Anna was specially concerned with supervising the children's behavior, and at the same time, she supported the constant verbal violence of her husband. Her greatest consolation came from prayer. She dedicated herself to sewing clothes and thus supplemented her husband's meager salary. And at other times she was able to help those poorer than herself because she was always extraordinarily generous and taught her children to be so. She was widowed with 4 children and entered the third order of the Trinity. She was a very pious woman and a follower of the gospel. Anne suffered physically and mentally agony when she prayed for the conversion of hardened sinners. For many years, while praying in the chapel, she had frequent visions and ecstasies in which she foresaw the future. She frequently read the thoughts and divined the motives of the people who visited her, and as a result was able to help them in a seemingly supernatural way. She predicted the fall and death of Napoleon Bonaparte. One day, she saw the vision of the Virgin Mary and the child Jesus. During the last years of her life, she suffered greatly from the attacks of Satan. These trials, along with the ailments of her health and the gossip and slander, gave her opportunities to show resignation and bear them cheerfully. She was the second woman of the 19th century to be stigmatized. Her poor house was the meeting place for many of the high-ranking figures of the church and state who sought her intercession, advice, and opinion on matters of God. They say that in all Rome during the 19th century there was no more remarkable woman than Anna Maria Taigi, who was honored with the esteem of 3 successive pontiffs. She died on June 9, 1837, after 9 months of acute suffering at the age of 60. From a young age, Anna Maria learned and lived the reality that with God we always win.